All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Rediscover Oikos's videocast for Redo.Church. We are excited to have everybody with us tonight as we get logged on here in just a moment. As everybody gets plugged in with us tonight, I want to encourage you to hop on, share our video tonight, get on here, like it. I want you to share it, host it with somebody. We're going to have a great conversation tonight. I've been trying to share this as much as I can. So I want to encourage you to hop on. Just a few moments, we're going to get geared up today for a great conversation about church media. This may not be for everyone, but I'm hoping it'll be for someone. We have a fairly special guest with us tonight that I'm excited to introduce in just a moment. He is actually on vacation, and he still decides to come hang out with me on this. So let's go ahead and like everything. Let's go ahead and make this happen tonight. Join us for a great conversation. Hopefully everyone listening online via YouTube or Facebook, you don't want to miss what we have going on tonight. So let's go ahead and get ready. Go ahead and like it. Let's go ahead and share this page. All right, without further ado, we are going to introduce our special guest tonight. We have with us a good friend of mine. He's kind of special to me because he's also my youth pastor, and he's the best looking guy I know. That's what I'm going to say tonight to talk about him. And he has been my partner in crime as we talked about church media over the last, now nearly 6 months dealing with COVID, dealing with all the stuff that the church is dealing with. And so we're glad to have him with us. So tonight, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about everything to do with church media. We're going to be talking about some best practices. We're going to be talking about how to do this on a budget. And we want to encourage you to hop on and ask questions. So if you have any questions tonight, don't hesitate to hop on with us. You do not want to miss it. Again, it may not be for everyone, but we are convinced it's for someone. Even if you're watching later, don't hesitate to reach out to either me or Pastor Ben as we talk a little bit about this whole thing we have going on with COVID. And so we're going to have Ben hop on with us tonight. And I just want to introduce him really quickly. Again, he's the youth pastor at Crossroads Church in Ocala, Florida. But he's more than that. He's also a church media guru. He is the man when it comes to building logos, when it comes to doing video development. And I'm glad that I've worked with him on multiple projects now. Actually, he's the one who designed our logo for Rediscover Oikos. He's the one who designed my videos for our project on exegetical analysis. So it's good to have him. He is the owner, the founder, the president, the chief cook and bottle washer of Campbell and Company Media. So we're going to go ahead and have Ben Campbell hop on with us today as we get ready to talk. Again, as you're logging in, as you're getting plugged in tonight, we want to make sure you like this page, share the video, and do not hesitate to talk a little bit about this with us and ask any questions that you have. Ben, good to have you today, man.
Hey, good to be here. I went from fairly special to kind of special, and I'll take it.
Yeah, kind of special guy. You'll take that. That's a good.
I'll take it. Thank you for having me.
Hey, I called you the best looking guy I know too. So
hey,
yeah, I don't know how my credibility is at this.
We'll see. Yeah.
Okay. But we're just bragging on you. I know Miss Ann thinks you're the best looking guy in the world. So we're good to have you online with us. So, all right. So we're going to be talking about some fun topics, everyone, tonight. And again, if you're just chiming in, this is a new time. I worried about that as well. We used to do 8:30. I'm going to try to do this at 8 p.m. on Eastern time because I feel like the 8:30 thing gets kind of late at night, and so we're going to be doing this a little bit earlier. But so we have Ben with us, and he's going to be talking to us a little bit about this whole church media thing that we have going on. And so I'm looking forward to it. It's been a journey. And again, he's been my partner in crime. And what's interesting is we found quite a few people who have really struggled with church media. They struggled with how to do videos, how to set up everything, and all that kind of stuff. And so tonight we're going to be kind of walking through a couple of issues related to that. And so Ben, so as we get started, we've had a lot of challenges. Challenge after challenge with church media, and a lot of our churches are struggling with that. So as we talk tonight, we're going to be talking more about how to do budget friendly. Now, this isn't for everyone. I understand that because if you can afford a consultant for media, you probably want to go that direction. But a lot of churches, they just can't afford it right now. Their budget is zero on everything with just the financial issues that are dealing with COVID as well. And so what I thought we could start off tonight with is just to kind of talk about some of the struggles we faced as churches that you know of. And you work both for churches as well as not-for-profits, working with the Bread of the Almighty there in Gainesville. So what have you noticed as we're talking about some of the struggles we're facing as we've transitioned onto online and start doing those kinds of media? So do you have any things that you've seen and struggles you've seen dealing with COVID and church media?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're seeing the church have to rethink, the strategy behind everything we do, right? Because, church, we love to hug people and shake hands and all these things. And, well, like you said, if you're not a mega church with mega resources, it can be pretty difficult. And so for moving online, a lot of people wear a lot of hats, and media person was not one of them before the COVID crisis. So now it's trial by fire. You have to learn or else. So and it can be stressful as well, because I mean, life in ministry is a job itself without throwing the media side in there. And we've come a long way, even at Crossroads Church. The first thing we put out to what we put out now is drastically different. We had virtually no gear in the beginning, and we slowly built a pretty bang up media setup from streaming to video production and all that stuff. But if your stuff doesn't look like a mega church, don't beat yourself up, because that's a good starting place.
Yeah,
start where you can.
I agree, because what's funny is not everybody can afford the $100,000 media equipment, and then you're going, really what happened is everything ran out too, so you couldn't find any equipment.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
the hardest part. Like whatever you had, you were stuck with, whether it was a cell phone or whether it was a Nikon. God knows what we used.
Yeah,
we were using
Lord.
535 or whatever it was, and we thought it was a decent camera when we were just shooting little miniature things or real quick videos. But when we try to start challenging it to look good on YouTube and Facebook, man, what a mess it was. But now we're kind of at a point to where the technology's kind of caught up a little bit. So things are still on back order, but you can get it now.
Right.
Some things took me 3 months to get. But that was hard, just taking whatever you have. And so as folks are listening today, that's one thing I want you to understand. You can do ministry with whatever you have. You just have to kind of be flexible, right? That's the big thing. You remember the days like, why do we cut 20-minute sermons? Now we think it's a good idea to cut 20-minute sermons. And I'm concerned if we ever go back into the building too long term, people are going to ask me to like keep preaching for 20 minutes, right? Or 25 minutes. But we preach 20-minute sermons, not because of me just being concise. Ben, tell them why we were preaching 20-minute sermons.
Because our DSLR, our Nikon DSLR that we bought before the COVID crisis, when we thought it was okay, has a 20-minute recording limit on it. So yeah, that was our hard in and hard out. We didn't really have much of a choice.
Yeah, and I remember my favorite part of the whole Nikon recording thing was when I would get this behind the camera. Here's the camera going, you got 5 minutes. If you don't hurry up, you're in trouble. It's like, please shut up quickly. Right.
You did good though. So, you always end at the right time though. I'd be thinking, I don't know how I was going to pull this off, but
I mean, I just crammed 6 months of sermon in 6 seconds. But that's actually a question that I got just the other day though, from somebody who called me, said, "Hey, I'm needing help with church media. I'm needing somebody to help me throw this together. I need somebody to help me figure out what camera to get." And they're using a Nikon, whatever. Yeah. And before COVID, I did not know why there were 20-minute time limits on cameras until I went and did some research and realized it was because taxes. That's the only reason, taxes.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
That you want a cheap camera, and so the government classifies cameras differently, and that 20 to 30-minute time limit is a government thing, and so they regulate it, and so some cameras are willing to pay the extra money, the taxes, to import it into the United States, and so it works out really well. But that 20-minute really hurts, because most of us, we can't even put two thoughts together in 20 minutes. And so that is an issue. And so to me, I think that was one of the big struggles, is just taking whatever technology we had and somehow trying to figure it out. However, again, I was just talking to a pastor the other day that was struggling with this exact thing. What are some of the best practices? Because, we are really struggling right now. People are trying to figure out how do they do ministry? How do they go through and actually make it look good? And so we're going to talk a little bit about some best practices for online church, because we're going to be online forever. And I hope you would agree with this, that at this point, don't think that online is just until COVID ends. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. And so we're going to talk a little bit about platforms, and let's define that first. Tell people kind of what a platform is, and tell them the different platforms they can be using and what you found most beneficial for us at Crossroads, and also, how do we do the whole multiple platform thing? Because that's a big question people are getting. If they're only doing Facebook, they don't know how to use multiple platforms.
Right. Yeah, that's a big one. Social media platforms, we're talking Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, these kind of things, TikTok, just whatever, social media apps or websites. And I think for us, the answer has certainly been Facebook. I think is the most solid platform for us. YouTube also is one that you can use. But I think it's important that, your church better than anybody, and where you get the most traction, whether that's on Facebook or Instagram. And, as a church, we meet people where they're at. So make it as easy as possible for your people to find you, whether that's Facebook like it is for us, or it's Instagram or Twitter and or YouTube. YouTube is one that I was actually surprised. I thought YouTube would be, at least for us, maybe it's different for other people, but a stronger platform for people to find our stuff. But Facebook for us has really seemed to be the best, because it's Facebook is such a part of people's lives, and the interaction there that you have is, I think, what makes it, at least for what we found for us. And when we first started streaming, we did a program called OneStream that you pay X amount of dollars. I think we paid for like the $40 a month plan.
Yeah, $40, yeah.
And but that automatically posts to whatever social media you just link it, and it automatically posts whenever you schedule it. And so there are tons of options out there. You might be more knowledgeable in that side of things. You're like the streaming master these days. Yes.
Master's a really great word. So I don't know. What's interesting is you're the one who figured out how to use OneStream, and that really worked for pre-recorded really well, and because it mimicked like you were online, which I really like it was live, and right. I really appreciated OneStream for what that offered us. But we found the frame rate was an issue, right? That whole, or 1080p, I don't know what it's called, 1080p or the rest.
The first Sunday, remember the little mini heart attacks we had when our video didn't upload at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning?
And that's an issue. Learning how to use, going from 780 to or 1080p to the 760 or whatever we are now. I don't know what these things are. But that was an issue because Facebook is not designed for this. It was never designed for this. It was designed for little short videos. And here you had massive churches just loading up on it, and they had to kind of beef up their systems. So that was a big issue that I noticed. I think OneStream works really well. Of course, YouTube has been interesting because I found that we didn't really have a YouTube presence anyway, and I think that it never really materialized. I do remember that Facebook was a problem right off the bat, because if you didn't have a Facebook account, you're in trouble. YouTube is just user-friendly in that regard, that anyone, you don't have to have a YouTube channel or Gmail account or anything like that to actually hop on to YouTube, which makes it nice. Yeah. And then, of course, our big issue was, when you use OneStream, you cannot apply it to your website, and that was a big limitation. So we actually had to kind of play that by ear as well and actually upload it to our website. Thank God we're through that. Now we've moved into Boxcast, which Boxcast works really well because we're doing our live stream. It's a little bit more expensive, but it allows us to do multiple platforms, and we use OBS. So now this is a big thing because some people have asked me this big question. OBS is a free software. It's the open broadcasting software. Please consider using it. You can build layers. You can actually design it. It's not perfect. It will crash. Trust me, our first parking lot service, it crashed on us twice. And so you're going to have to deal with that as well. You're going to have issues where OBS will crash, but it's free. And we love free. Free's a good thing. And what we do is we have synced our OBS to Boxcast now, and we're able to broadcast to our website. We're able to broadcast to YouTube and to Facebook, which is really nice. And then you can even broadcast into groups, which is really cool. I like that idea, to where you can actually sync it. But it does seem like Facebook's the way to go right now, and I'm not a fan of Facebook. But man, I get all my traction with Redo.Church off of Facebook, even though I'm on YouTube as well. So I think, it's free. Use it, right? I mean, it's going to be a part of our lives for a while. One issue that we have discovered as well, Ben, if you remember the issue, and I've heard a lot of people going, well, Facebook has taken something offline. I want to talk about that for a minute. And this is kind of adding to our conversation. Why has Facebook deleted my service? Why has Facebook deleted, a portion of my service, or it goes completely silent for a little bit? And people get really frustrated with that, and they go, no, that's censorship. Well, no, it's not actually censorship. It's actually because most likely you are committing some version of copyright infringement, right?
which a lot of churches have done in the past and continue to do.
Yes, copyright infringement is not an issue when you are blasting it on your screens or your worship software for projection purposes, but it is an issue when you are live streaming because they're actually checking it out. And what I found interesting is the people who are being blocked are people who are even using any type of actual canned music, right? So if you're live, your live music, usually there's going to be a derivation of live music. So like if we play a song, we're going to play it the Crossroads way, right? Good, bad, or ugly, it's going to be the Crossroads way. You don't get blocked for the Crossroads way because it's not actually copyright infringement. It's not the words, it's not the lyrics that get blocked. It's actually the music itself. And Facebook actually picks up on the music. I know for us, one time we had someone sing a song for Easter, and even though she was singing the song, we used a track. And the track is what actually got muted, and had to go in there and say, no, this is actually somebody singing. If you click tracks will get blocked because it is actually considered, it's actually the song itself. And so Facebook doesn't know that you've actually purchased that, so they block it. And that's kind of an interesting thing that we don't talk a lot about with this. And you have to be careful now. I was actually, me and Ben are kind of big Office fans, right? So, we can talk about this, really spiritual things. We're like really big Office fans. I was actually reading a post today, Ben. You'll appreciate this. Do you know, you remember when Michael is going to Sandals, Jamaica, right? Sandals. And
feeling hot.
Yeah, feeling hot. $60,000 to make that statement in the Office. $60,000 just to say
he's going to Sandals?
Hot.
Oh, I was feeling, oh my gosh.
Because that was they had actually pay license to that music company for him to say that. Or so you think, how's that happen, If it wasn't that hot one, it was another one he did. I can't remember. Anyway, I got 2 tickets to Paradise. That's the song he sings.
Oh, okay.
I got 2 tickets. And so just singing that song for that one split second cost $60,000 for the license.
Yeah. Well, Eddie Money sings that. So a greedy little Eddie Money wanted his money, I guess.
Exactly. He wanted his money. And I'm glad you knew the guy's name because I'd already forgotten it. I actually remembered it and forgot it. At least I got the song right, which should give me some credit, right? Because usually I'd even get the song right. It took me, one try, but hey, I got there. All right. So even on licensing is an issue, right?
Yeah. Even on YouTube, we put out a video for this past Sunday because the hurricane was supposed to, be an issue for us.
Yes, it was.
Ended up being beautiful weather. But, my wife and I sat on the couch and sang some worship songs, and YouTube tracks that. It's us with acoustic guitar and our voices. Certainly not the original arrangement, but it realizes this is a copyright claim, and their bots are so efficient that they actually pick it up when you're uploading it. It's it's insane how efficient it is.
And some people think the CCLI is a joke, and I don't know if it is or not.
Yeah, I land somewhere in the middle.
From a Christian media perspective, I think the Christian, they want you to sing their songs because they know if you sing the songs, it's more likely to get on the radio. It's more likely to go to Amazon Music or iTunes or wherever you buy music or Pandora, and you're going to get it, right? So there's kind of a reciprocal, kind of symbiotic relationship there. However, be careful because Facebook doesn't care what Chris Tomlin thinks about anything. They're just looking at it as potential copyright infringement, and it's not censorship when that happens. So be careful there. I think that wasn't a part of our conversation, but I think that's important because I've seen that happen quite a bit. And people get mad and they blame it on either the government or Facebook or whatever. And the reality is it was just an error that you can check. Now, one thing to do when that does happen is Facebook will send you a message very quickly. Hey, this has been blocked for this. If you will go ahead and respond to it immediately, they'll clean it up for you really well, which is nice. So I think that's a really good thing as well. And just a reminder really quickly, everyone, if you have a question, we have people bouncing in and out tonight, which is great. If you get on here, please send us a question. If you have a question about church media or equipment, we're going to be talking about equipment a little bit today, which is really fun. So we already talked about some platforms. We talked about Facebook and some issues with Facebook or YouTube. The frame rates are different for Facebook and YouTube. That's something very important to pay attention to. It's not frame rate. Is it resolution?
Yeah, Facebook, at least through that one stream program, anything over 720 would not play.
Yeah, but I think that's Facebook, right? It is 720.
Yeah,
and I'm using StreamYard, same thing. It tries to keep you at 720 because of Facebook.
Right. And so YouTube, we what we do is we shoot in 4K, but YouTube, we just upload, export at 1080 and that's more than enough for us.
Yeah, well, because YouTube is designed for it is exactly what it is. It has become TV. Facebook is supposed to be about social networking. YouTube is about TV, and so it's designed for two different purposes, and so that's important. All right, so let's talk about the tech adverse people of the world. So really quickly, if you do want to stream multiple platforms, really the only way to stream multiple platforms is you're just going to pay a service. And there's a ton of them out there. Yeah, you just have to do it. And it's not expensive, $40 or $50, but it gets you in multiple places. Or you can just train your church to go to whatever location you need to go to. That helps as well. That's
a podcast in itself.
Yes, and that is not very easy. Not easy at all. All right, so our next question today, guys, is this. We're talking about tech adverse churches. So if you're here and you're listening and you're watching and you're a tech adverse person, but you want to do social media, and I have pastors all the time ask me about this because again, I do my Bible studies using what I'm using now, and they're like, "How do you get that little graphic to pop up?" or those kinds of things, which are really good questions. And so really, it would take me nothing right now. People would go, "Well, how did you do this kind of stuff? How's this happening? What are you doing to make all this happen?" And there's actually a really cool trick, and it's called, I pay money for a service called StreamYard that kind of helps a little bit. And so some good things cost money, right? But for me, it costs. I pay $29 a month to be able to do this, and I use this and Worship Extreme together and create pretty cool stuff. And so you do have to pay good money sometimes, or some money for things. So we're kind of talking about the tech adverse churches now, the ones who really struggle with this. So do you have any advice for churches who do not feel like they're very tech savvy, or they're struggling with how to approach church media and this Facebook stuff or YouTube or whatever they're using? What are some things they can do if they're struggling with this?
Yeah, I think the answer there is that something is definitely better than nothing. If you have a smartphone, or know somebody who has a smartphone, if all you can do is put it on your desk and press record and give your Sunday sermon and then post that to Facebook, or if you can call your nephew or just ask for help. Because I know you've had that experience with churches coming to you and say, "Hey, you just said, how do I do that?" Ask for help. There are churches. The office rocks. Yes, it does.
Yeah. Thanks, James. James is my brother. He's the man. Seventh-day Adventist pastor from down in South Florida, a student as well. So let me get him some props really quickly, man. And an author and a media personality. He's got it going on. So James, everybody loves The Office, man. Good to have you online with us, brother. All right, Pastor Ben, keep going, man. Sorry about that.
Yeah. And so, the tripod we started with, I don't know if you remember this, was held together by tape.
Oh, yes.
Because the plate wouldn't lock in. So
yes, it was.
Start with what you have and just build up, and ask your nephew for help. Ask the church down the road. We've borrowed equipment from people to, for our broadcasting over the radio, and they've come and tried lenses that are, so I think it's a great time as a church to, partner, because we're on the front lines. Local churches are on the front lines, and so partner up, buddy up. And then also YouTube has everything.
Yeah. And so that's kind of a good segue here, because what I found is just talking to other pastors and talking to youth pastors and, hey, what are you doing that's working? What media equipment are you using? Because one of the worst things you can do is actually buy equipment that you don't know how to use, or it's unnecessary. How much money have we wasted on stuff that we really didn't need because we thought that, hey, I need this? And so YouTube helps a little bit, kind of gives you good media reviews, but also little things like, if you want to use your iPhone, listen, there are churches that are killing it with the iPhone.
Oh yeah.
Your acoustics work really well, whatever it may be. I know our church struggles with that. And so kind of show you really quickly, and this is one of the cool things I want to do today, guys. I want to show you just how simple using the camera can be, literally how easy it'll be. I'm actually going to switch signals here for a second, Pastor Ben. Oh, look at my ugly face. So this is actually me using my camera right now. And the only device I am using to do this, and I want you to see this today, all I am using, this on Amazon costs me $44. All right. And so as we do that, that's kind of cool. So did I lose video? Did I lose audio for a second, Pastor Ben?
No. I was just watching my hand Inception wave in the multiple.
Okay, you got me really nervous for a second. So let me show that again to everybody. So this is kind of an easy device. It's just an HDMI and a lightning port, and so simple. And now it allows me to use my phone. And so there's a picture in picture there, triple picture kicking here right now because of that. And I'll talk a little bit more about that switcher in a minute. But something so simple, and I think I may have bought that app. But you can actually turn it over, use the rear cam, and it works perfectly, and you have no problems, which is really nice. And so really, when it's all said and done, just using your iPhone really does work. And sometimes it actually works better, which is hilarious.
Phones are so intuitive. If you don't know about cameras, phone, everybody knows how to use a phone. And I have this here. This might have cost me $20, but you can pick them up for as cheap as $10. And just comes a little phone mount. Stick your phone on there, and now you have something that's better than just putting it on your desk.
Exactly.
What you got.
Yeah, and so like this camera here is actually on a tripod. You can't see it, of course, but it's on a little small tripod that I stole from AJ. Just stole it from him because he wasn't using it. I bought it for him for Christmas when he was doing trying to become like some YouTuber with the little GoPro on his head, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I bought him the little wraparound. So I stole it from him because he wasn't using it. And that was as good as it gets. And so and you kind of learn how to do little things that just whatever you have. If you only have an iPhone, use it. It will work very well.
That's enough.
If you have a DSLR camera, you just have to turn it off and on every once in a while. So just one of those things. Hey, Miss Barbara, good to have you and Miss Deneen join us for a little bit too, because they could be our next media team. Let's get involved.
Hey,
today.
Let's go.
Need all the help we can get some days. So that's a good point. Just kind of keep it simple, right? If you're struggling with don't complicate it. And we can talk about some basic things, but it's really simple, input and output, right? So just take a camera, make sure you have the right cables and hook it in. There are some little things that we're going to talk about in a minute, some tricks. But if you have an iPhone and it works, use it. If don't buy a camera that's too hard for you to use. And let me show you really quickly, and Pastor Ben can show you more in advance. You can kind of see my camera right here. This is an A6400. We at Crossroads Church are super big fans of the A6400. And Ben records all of his videos with that A6400. Yep. It is a beast of a camera. So here's mine running. Mine runs right here. And Ben, what are you actually live streaming with right now?
This is actually the just camera in my MacBook Pro. It's 2019.
Nice. So hey, it looks pretty good, right?
They upgraded heavily for their camera.
They have. Yeah, mine's a lot better too. So and what's interesting, in this camera right behind me here, this is a $200 camera. It is a Canon. What, Sony or Canon? I can't remember.
I think it's a Canon, I believe.
Is this a Canon, right? Canon Vixia, or is it Sony? I don't know. It's a Vixia HR whatever 800 $200 camera, $220, and I found that on YouTube. Everybody talked about using it just for kind of stuff like this right here, and it works really well, and it's not complicated. Let me tell you a really bad story of a friend of ours who decided to get a cinematic camera. We went against the cinematic camera at our church because we wanted
to get it, though. We really wanted it.
We wanted to, and we decided to go with the A6400s because they are indefinite recording. The only issue you have with any kind of DSLR camera, and Pastor Ben can tell me this very well because we failed miserably here. He decided he wanted to record our entire church services in 4K. We overheated the camera and it kept shutting off. We thought it was the battery. Remember that?
Yep.
We thought it was the battery, but it wasn't the battery. It was actually overheating because of 4K. 4K takes more battery life, which means it takes more heat. So we dropped it down to 1080p and not had a problem since. So you have to be careful with that. But the infinite, as long as your battery is plugged in, like we're using dummy batteries. What did we learn about dummy batteries, Pastor Ben?
buy the good ones.
Do not buy a cheap dummy battery off of Amazon for like $30. We use BH Photo. I got mine for $100, and it has not been a problem at all. I've used a cheap one, and it will die on me, and my camera will not make it. So good quality stuff makes a difference, right? That is a big deal.
Yeah, there are some things that you can go budget on, but like you said, you get what you pay for sometimes, and there are crucial things like that you want to just pay the extra. Yeah,
like the A6400, you're paying, I think the camera is $899 or something like that, or $999, and then you're getting
right about $1,000,
a $400 lens with it. You're going to pay $1,200-$1,300, and you are really killing it. And it's over my head. I plugged it in and used it immediately, but I have no clue what I'm doing. Ben has, and he'll tell you a little bit about his YouTube channel a little bit later and some work he's doing, but he has just blown through it. And so every once in a while, I have to go to him and say, hey, how do I fix whatever you just did? I need to do that on mine, because it has a lot of extra stuff that most people will never use, right?
Unless there's a lot. It can get overwhelming.
High productivity stuff, right? But yeah, so keep it simple is a big thing here. And so to kind of put it into perspective, a good laptop, good internet connection. Like I'm plugged in directly wired, and I try to stay wired because it works just so much better. Because that is an issue that people seem to struggle with. And so, all right, let's kind of keep going, because we don't want to be here all night and drive our audience crazy tonight. So again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out and ask questions. You can message me, message Ben as well. We want to help you out because we feel like churches, you spend too much money on stuff you do not need or get bad advice. And so we're going to be talking about some of your favorite tools again. So I think for those people who are struggling, you can go straight from an iPhone or this camera, any camera, directly into your computers. Now, the problem with this as well, if you're not using your webcam, like Pastor Ben right now is using his webcam, I am not. I am using my Sony. You have to use what is called a video capture device, and I'll talk to you more about a video capture device. If you'll notice, it is HDMI here. Mine is USB-C because I have MacBooks, and MacBooks. Mac has decided to make themselves completely unuser-friendly. And so now everything is now a USB-C, and you have to buy an adapter for that. So I use that. Our church uses it's called a Magewell. It's about $300 connector that works really well as well. Gets really hot though. That's what I found with that.
That's one of the things not to cheap out on as well. We've learned, right?
Yeah, that's a good point, because if you got to have a video capture device to take any camera and put it into your computer to live stream. And you go to Best Buy for a second. When we could not find one and ours was messing up, right? Come to find out it was our computer, not our video capture device. But we messed up, and what happened was we couldn't get it to work, and so I had to cheap out quickly, and it wasn't cheap. I paid $200 for it, and I bought a 4K Gamers video capture device out of Best Buy. The problem is it's kind of like chink, 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 frame. And it was because it wasn't designed. It was designed to record your video screen, not a camera. And so now I love this one. This is awesome. It's called an A10 Cam Live, and it's actually designed for video and cameras. And so it works really well. It's super smooth. I don't even have to use it right now because I'm going to show you something else in a minute. That's my baby. We love it. Oh, yeah. Simple tools that make all the difference. And so by the end of the show, we're going to tell you how you can spend $2,000 to $3,000 and have a killer setup.
Yep.
A killer setup. And so that's pretty cool. All right. So let's keep going here for a second, Pastor Ben, and right. Let's talk about our favorite tools. Here, it's time. We get to talk about our favorite tools.
Favorite tools. Gear. Oh, boy. Like we just said, Sony A6400. Let me get it in frame here. This thing, it comes in at that kind of like, what do you would call it? Like prosumer, price range, but it's a beast. You get, 4K, 24 frames per second, which, if you're shooting sermons and that stuff, that's all you need is 24 frames per second. They say that's what the human eye, it's more natural than So, but you also do 1080p all the way up to 120. And this mic, here's a good example. All of the Rode mics right now are hard to get your hands on. So this is a Movo. And it's like a clone of the Rode Video Micro, and it was probably like $40, but it's all I could get at the time. And this thing is awesome.
It's like from Amazon, right?
Amazon, correct? Yeah.
And why do you have that fuzzy thing on there? Tell a little bit about those kinds of things.
Oh yeah, it's called a dead cat, and if you want to shoot outside or even inside with these, what you mount on here is called a shotgun mic, right?
Yeah.
So it picks up everything. A dead cat just helps. I got actually the fur is flying off all the way here on my face. But this kind of helps get better sound. And you're not going to hear so much of the room and all that stuff. An alternative, if you don't have, around about $1,000 to drop, is the Canon M50. Is kind of comes in around $500-$600, and it gets you a lot of the same features. I would still go with. We went with the Sony because I don't think the Canon has the 20. It has a 20-minute or 30-minute runtime, but it will get you close. Not quite the same, but it will get you in the same ballpark as well.
Now, one of the things though is you also get what you pay for when it comes to tripods, right? And you and I have had some run-ins on tripods because I had no clue about this thing called a fluid head, right?
Yeah.
Or the difference between travelers tripods and legit tripods. That's a big difference too. So tell everyone what a fluid head is and why, if they're live streaming, they want a fluid head.
Yeah, so if you want to be able to pan around, right? If you have your camera and you need to be able to move it this way. If your pastor moves a lot, or if you have different things going on, you're gonna want a fluid head. Now, when it comes to tripods or heads or anything, and you need to go on a budget, you can find them on Amazon. It's this brand, Neewer, Neewer.
Yes.
Look at their store. They have like everything, bang for the buck. The good tripods that we have that work for us are all the Neewers. The heads, a $50 fluid head, which is like insane to find a fluid head that cheap. That works really well for us.
Like $100, right? For the tripod plus the head, $110, right?
Yep, which is kind of unheard of to get.
That's super cheap. That's super cheap.
And it's a really solid tripod as well.
It is.
I think it stands up to what's that other tripod we have?
Manfrotto, right?
Manfrotto, yeah. I feel the different ones we have.
I use a Manfrotto here at the house, and I like it. However, I spent $200 on it, and it's a travel one, and it does have a semi-fluid head, but not the same. It's more flexible, where you can do this kind of thing.
The ball head, yeah.
Yeah, but man, I love ours at the church. That is a sweet head on it, and it's just so smooth, and it's clean. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's like butter.
Yeah, so that's a good point. All right,
and,
so anything else that you like?
Yeah, when it comes to video production, I know we're talking about streaming and kind of live, but for if you need to edit your videos, if you're not live streaming, some free video editing software that's kind of a step up from your what is Max?
iMovie.
Yeah, step up from that is DaVinci by Blackmagic. It's a free editing suite, and it's arguably more powerful than Adobe Premiere Pro, because Adobe products, while necessary, they like to die on you. So DaVinci by Blackmagic is a killer free video editing software that does everything. And also the color grading, if you want to get into that side of things, is even superior to the Adobe.
Yeah, it is good, and that's way over my head. I don't do the. That's why we pay him the big bucks to do all the fun stuff, and so it is the free. That is a free, and I use it. I have it on my computer. I don't know what I'm doing with it, but I try. And there's a few different video. People use Canva. Canva's a free online
great for social media graphics and
that kind of stuff. Figma's another one that I've used as well. That's pretty good. It's good for overlays. Let me show you kind of what I'm talking about when I talk about overlays. Like this overlay right here, to be able to do something like that right there and pop it on the screen. That's a video overlay that I made from Figma.
Oh, wow.
Put our logo and all that on there, so that you can do that kind of stuff very easy, and it's all free and online. And there's a lot of cool stuff out there to do, to use. All right. So I'm gonna show you some of my kind of tech tools. Again, I already showed you a moment ago. I'm going to show you really quickly things we use at our church that we didn't have before, but we have now. If you can spend $300 on something, if you want to use multiple angles, or again, let me just kind of switch over real quick for a moment here, and I'm gonna go big screen for a second, Ben, and I'll be back so I can see this for a minute. But if you want to go this. So this cost me right at $200. This is the video capture device that I was talking about a moment ago that would run from that camera out into an HDMI port into here and into our computer, right? And so this would run with any live stream or OBS system, right? Which is really nice. Ben, so I'm about to bring you back on and talk a little bit about this. But one of the things I want you to see here is what I'm doing here. So I have this little device here. I maybe need to go back big one more time. This is my switcher here. This is an ATEM mini switcher from Blackmagic, who kills it. Blackmagic is amazing on everything they do anyway. It took me 3 months to get it, but when I get it, it cost me $299. I bought one for the church, I bought one for me. And I'm running on 3 devices right now. I'm as you can tell, you're actually getting a little picture-in-picture. So, my first device is the A6400 here that is running in channel 1. So when I go to channel 1, there we go. That takes me back to channel 1. And when I go back to channel 2, I'm running off a little cheap camera here that cost me $200, the Vixia HRF 800 or whatever they call that. And it's a good look here, but I'm actually using the switcher. So this $300 switcher now gives me multiple angles. And then the last angle that I was telling you a moment ago is my phone. I have it plugged in here using a $45 adapter from Apple to plug in and actually have 3 different devices going simultaneously. Again, you can actually see my phone right now. These are the questions that I'm asking Pastor Ben. So that kind of puts that into context so you can kind of see how that works. And so I'm actually running off of multiple devices right now. So that's kind of nice. I think that's really helpful for $300. That's my favorite thing. Now, I want to talk to you for a moment as well about audio stuff, because this is a big. You found what I feel like is probably one of the highest quality mics that I've ever seen on a budget, which is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I use this. I use the Blue Yeti Pro. It's a $129 mic or something like that. I went to a dust cover instead of using the big. I used to use the big, pop filter. Yeah, but now I'm just using the good old fashioned dust cover over the top of it. They kind of, and it still helps with the pop, but I didn't like having the big black thing here where I couldn't see anything. Right, it was blocking my face, and so I use this again. $129, pretty expensive. This is high end stuff, and it plugs into my computer. I like the syncing; it syncs really well, which is nice. It does really well with my A6400. But tell us about what you use, because I think you have. On a budget, a really great microphone to use.
Yep, I picked this up. It's the problem is that I've looked on Amazon for it, and you can't find this exact brand. Last time I checked, but the brand here is Fifine Technologies, and this cost me $50. Wow. And I bought it. I don't know, probably a year ago, and when we first started and we had a tripod held together by tape, and the thing about audio is arguably one of the most important quality of, to your video is having good audio, because if you have not so great video but good audio, people will still watch. But if you have great looking video but your audio is horrible, people will tune off. That's just how it is. Exactly. And so this is $50. It's a USB mic, and like yours is. And going back to talk about things that are too complicated, the first time we tried to use yours to record on for a Sunday video, we had it facing the wrong way. Do you remember that? Yeah. And because it has a few different
settings. My fault too.
So the audio was like hot garbage, and we were like, "Oh no, what are we gonna do?"
Yeah.
So sometimes it's $50 USB mic. It has great reviews. It's Fifine, Fifine. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but it looks like this.
It sounds good. Whatever the brand is, I just know it is a very good mic, and I've been super impressed with it. Because it's saved our butt multiple times. Matter of fact, we use it now still because it works so well.
And we've recorded music with it when a room full of people, and it was not the worst thing in the world.
It wasn't. I thought it actually went really well, and of course, you can't add effects through the mic. But if you'll notice, even as Ben was talking, as he was moving it around, if you'll notice, make sure you have your mic facing the correct direction. What a difference it makes. As you were talking about earlier, it is not designed to be at the top, right? It is designed to be at the front. These are podcast mics, and that's really what they're designed for. And it's the little things like that make a huge difference in these mics. And so, that's good equipment, and I've been impressed by that. So it's amazing to you if you think about it for a second. It doesn't cost a lot of money. Again, let me show you this screenshot here really quickly, and I'm gonna change angles just for a second here. So hang with me. And again, I can do all this because of my software. But this camera here costs, like I said, it cost $220, something like that. Here's the problem with it. It's the next thing I want to talk about, Pastor Ben, and it is lighting.
Oh boy.
Right, because remember we hooked this camera up in our church with poor lighting, and it was trash,
Unusable.
garbage,
Yeah.
right. Remember, and so you look at this, you go, man, that's really clean for a $200 camera. Well, what you don't know is I have a really big light right there shining down right here on top of it, and I have a big ring light right above my head. And so, I have a light coming from here and a light. I'm using a 2-point system right now. Have one here, and I know Ben, you do as well. And I for some reason couldn't get your picture to come off my iPhone to show. But it's the same idea. And so this camera works because of good lighting. And do you need to spend a ton of money on good lights?
No, we didn't spend a ton of money, and the lights we use are the lights I picked up for using, for my own stuff for Campbell and Co. But it's that Neewer brand, and these two guys, they're running probably at like 15% power right now. Yeah. And I had nice natural light from the sliding glass door, but now it's a little harsher. And then I'm just running backlighting with my 2 lamps over here, just living room lamps. Yeah. And this is not the worst lighting in the world. Pretty even. Hard to manage with the glasses. We've learned that glasses are a pain in the neck to work with. But good lighting. Yeah. Good lighting does not have to be expensive.
It doesn't, so I have a $100 ring light above me. I think $89 is what I paid for it. And I bought cheap little backlights. I bought these like $50 or $60, and they have a bulb on them, like this huge, massive bulb, like this big around. But they're kind of breakdown, really cheapy feel. They were dirt cheap, but man, they work really well. Dina hates them. She says they're too bright, but it works. I don't have a room right here where I'm at to do a third. Actually, you see, it looks like I have light behind. It's just the reflection off the other one.
Flash,
yeah, you do need to have good lighting. It makes all the difference. And so, little things like that you don't think about until you get there. It doesn't matter how good your camera is. The better the camera, the more it can compensate for your bad lighting.
Exactly.
You can take a bad camera and make it look really nice. Again, that is a sharp picture for a $200 camera that has been on now for an hour and a half without shutting off. But you don't get this kind of quality without having decent lighting around it. And understand it's only shooting in an area that's 6 or 7 foot wide. Have it zoomed in a little bit tight here. And so this here's a $1,300 camera, Sony A6400, so worth every penny of it. And yeah, Charles Underwood just said he's talking about this. He's talking about that 800. That's what I have right there. That is the Canon Vixia HRF 800, whatever the code is for it. And it is a good little camera. It does work. But lighting's the key to make sure it looks as good as you'd like it to look. And so if you think about this, that's $200. You got to have your cables, of course, to it. You have your laptop. I'm using my MacBook Pro here. I have right here a cheap screen. This is actually a television because I'm too cheap to buy monitors. That television is a cheap television that cost me $70.
But it works.
It works, and you can't see behind my big arm, but I run a tablet. My tablet sits here. It's all plugged in to where I fire to my screens all the time. And then, of course, like I said, what a difference this. So my whole setup here. Ignore the fact that MacBooks are ridiculously expensive, right?
Yeah, you don't need one.
You get a decent $500 to $1,000 to get a decent computer that can really rock and roll. But so I have $1,300 invested in that Sony right there. I had to buy the micro HDMI cord, so it's $1,300 for my switcher here makes it $1,600. That one there's $200. That's $1,800. $1,900. So for $2,000, I'm running multiple camera angles, and then so probably for $2,500 with everything here, not counting my very, very expensive computer. If you would get a cheaper computer, it would help. I'm running multiple camera angles with no problem whatsoever. Again, you see this. See, this is that you're looking now at my phone. That's actually right off of my phone right now. And so if not, I could do $1,300 with a video capture device like this right here into any computer that you already have. That'll work. And so for less than $2,000, you could be running a pretty strong media setup. And again, good mic helps. I love my Blue Yeti, but I'm gonna tell you right now, that mic that you use is as solid as any mic I've ever seen. And and to me, you can't. It's not like it's the quality is just as strong with that mic as it is with this one here, and you're paying $80 to $100 less for it. So that's not a bad deal. I'll take that.
I got lucky on that one.
Yeah, because if you can save money, right? If you think about it, okay, you need lights. So I've got, I've probably got $3,000 to $4,000 of equipment here now. However, I kind of bits and pieces put this together. Technically, I could have had my iPhone sitting right here.
Yep.
That I was going to use anyway, because of course I have to have a slave. We're all slaves to our phones these days, right? They're all attached to our ears at all times. Every one of us have a leash around our necks, I think, like dogs. We've all become like little dogs, and they yank every once in a while. Somebody yanks us back. Hey, why didn't you answer my phone call, or why didn't you call me? And we have to talk to people, which is unfortunate sometimes, isn't it?
I love texting.
No excuses for missing phone calls these days, right? But if you think about it for a second, just so simple. A light. You know how many YouTubers and these Instagram people, they take a ring light like I'm using right here. It's an 18-inch ring light. They'll take that, they'll hook their phone up to it. You can actually attach the phone to it, and they actually live and make lots and lots and lots of money with an iPhone and that right there, and pre-record videos. What makes it more difficult? Why would you need a video capture device? You do not need this if you are pre-recording, right? You do not need that. All you need is all you have to do is insert an SD card into your computer or your phone or whatever, or not your phone, your camera, or record it to your phone, and you're good to go. It's only when you're live streaming, because it actually captures the video and then processes it so it can go to YouTube or Facebook or whatever you're using. So that's good stuff. That's a lot of good tech stuff, right? A lot of good tech.
Yeah.
I think we're helping. Hopefully people listen to this. And I gave people really good advice the other day. I felt like it's based if you need a permanent setup or you need a temporary setup. If I'm people, I want a temporary setup. I want to be able to, like when we went back to the parking lot service, I love the fact that we literally took our entire system, put it on one of those media carts from like high school or elementary school, and we can run our entire system. That's been really nice.
Yeah, it's pretty modular, and it's a nice little kit. We roll it out. We plug directly into the internet, and it's a pretty killer little setup.
It is really cool. It works, and we have 200 feet of Ethernet cable. That helps. Hey, and if I could just say that about any type of live streaming, that helps. Hook straight, directly hook to your Wi-Fi router. Wi-Fi, you're going to have trouble, especially if you're a church and a lot of people are on there with you, because that is a problem. So that's a really good thing here. All right, so this is we're going to talk about 3 quick things. One. Well, you already mentioned this, though. Talk about the stuff you didn't know, right? And so where do you go right now? If you need to learn something new, where's the first place you go?
YouTube. And I have 3 channels that I scribbled down real quick that have really helped whenever I have questions. One is called Think Media. It's run by a guy named Sean Cannell, but he actually his background is ministry. He used to be a pastor. And so the stuff he does is more geared towards YouTubers with YouTube channels. But what he talks about all the time is reviews of Sony A6400 versus Canon M50. This stuff, all the stuff that you need to know really quick. And they do streaming stuff. Yeah, pretty much everything we've been talking about, they have great videos on. And Pro Church Tools is another one. A guy named Brady Shearer. I think he's in Canada, but they talk about everything. And then the other one is Churchfront with Jake Gosselin. And that's more of from the worship leader. The
cousin of Ryan Gosling.
Gosling, not quite as handsome, but
No, what was that site again?
It's Churchfront, all one word.
Churchfront?
Yeah, these are all YouTube channels. Yeah, so Think Media, Pro Church Tools, and Churchfront. And Churchfront, if you're a worship leader, that's something again that I have my one of the hats that we wear is got my fingers in the worship side of things. And so, he has a lot of great stuff on when it comes to, in-ears, but live streaming. And I think he even does stuff about the switcher that we use. And so there's a lot of great resources. If there's no reason not to know anything at this point, you can
definitely learn some really cool stuff. And then find somebody who is young and tech savvy or old and tech savvy. It doesn't matter if they're good at it. There's some people really good at this kind of stuff and ask a couple questions. What's working? What isn't? Like I got misinformation again, one more time, just kind of show you what I'm talking about. I'm using this switcher here, right? So you can't see it. Let me go widescreen one more time so you can see it. I was told, don't buy this switcher, the $299. Why don't you buy the $600 one or whatever it is? Because the one that you're using does not have a built-in video capture device, right? And so I said, well, that's not a big deal because I already have this one. No big deal, right? So I went ahead and went cheap. I didn't need more than 4 channels. We weren't ever going to do that. And so I bought this one. Well, if you'll notice, I am literally just running off of my USB-C cable here. There is no video capture device. And so I got bad information, right? And so you if you go to one of these people who they're paid, they make a lot of money to do media tech advice, right? And they go through it and they test these things and they actually show you how to work. And how I ended up choosing this switcher was because I actually said, wait a second here. It looks like that person is plugged in directly into their laptop. I don't see a video capture device, right? So I said, okay, oh, interesting. And so because of that, I took a chance on it and it ended up being correct. And so that's really nice. So what I love about those channels, these people, they do it for a living. They professionally, and a lot of them, like I said, they're also consultants. They're actually installing this stuff into churches, and they're installing this stuff into restaurants and different venues. And so because of that, or, nightclubs or whatever else they're doing. And so they're audio tech people anyway. And so you can learn some really cool stuff. And so I want to encourage you to just check that kind of stuff out. All right. So we got 2 questions and we're going to be wrapping this thing up. We're going a little bit long, but I hope you're enjoying yourself, Pastor Ben. This is fun stuff. Man.
I am. This is great conversation.
Nerdy stuff, right? And people are like, who cares about any of this kind of stuff? Dina hears me talk about this kind of stuff all the time. Don't you? She's looking right there. She hears me talk about this, and she gets so sick of it.
Yeah, my wife doesn't care either. She's not into it.
Especially when I get a new toy. It's like Christmas. And then I remember when I was buying all this new equipment, and she wasn't fussing at me, number one, which was really amazing that she didn't fuss at me for buying all this stuff. But even more so, she just really got sick of hearing about how awesome the A6400 camera is and all the little cool things that it does. And, hey, babe, what about this? What do you think of this? Hey, look at my new switcher. Come look at it. She's like, I don't care.
I don't care at all. Yeah.
At all. I don't care. But good for you, honey. It's kind of one of those things, right? Good for you, honey. It's all good. You look really nice on camera, baby. Thank you. And that's what I get. But anyway, she lies to me. She has no choice but to lie to me about how good I look on camera. I have the face for the radio.
Face for a podcast.
Yeah, face for a podcast. And here I am doing it anyway, right? Putting it out there real good. All right. So this is a big one. And I want everybody to listen to this. If you get to the end of this recording, you're going, dear God, you guys have talked about everything. You're a church media guy. I'm a church media guy. We love it. But we also hate it, right? Is that a fair assessment, right? I love it and we hate it.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a lot of negative people. And people say, well, you could do this better. You can do that better. So really quickly, if to all those negative people out there or the complainers who, what would you want to tell them, like about the church media guy, the sound guy, the video guy, the guy that's recording these videos behind the scenes that no one ever actually sees? Tell them a little bit about it and what you would want them to know.
Yeah, I actually this was the only question that I really struggled with because it could become a very long list super easily. Yeah. But I kind of I try to boil it down to as simple and and spiritual and not carnal as possible. The odds are that the media person at your church is not just the media person. They're probably juggling 5-6 different hats on top of doing the media stuff. And just go easy on them. A thank you is so much better than an unsolicited critique. And hey Karen, hey, how's it going? And a lot of people have opinions. Yeah. And unless you're the one doing it, and like in the middle of this whole COVID crisis, we had to learn quick and scramble quick and learn how to use different programs and equipment that we had never just never needed before. And so that's what I settled on is a thank you is better than an unsolicited critique. Yeah.
And and when you're exhausted, you don't want people to critique you.
Oh, sure.
That's a big deal. And how long, a typical video, how long does it take to edit to make it that 30-minute video?
30-minute video, I mean, we've streamlined it pretty good, but if you're working from 20, there's a video I'm working right now, like you mentioned at the top for a food bank in Gainesville, and I mean we're working on 15, 20 hours here for a total like a 45-minute video with lots of clips and lots of B-roll, and it takes time. These things,
it does.
There's a lot that goes into that. People, if you've never done it, you just don't know. It's easy to throw the stone when you're not in the pit, but there's just a lot that goes into it.
We're because my wife's a Disney fan and we have Disney Plus and all that kind of stuff. We were watching a video on the making of Frozen 2. Yeah, really top-notch stuff. And it was intriguing. I think we all enjoyed watching it. It was really cool. 6 years.
Yep.
To make a 2-hour film.
Insane the amount of work that goes into it.
And it was ridiculous that they would spend like 3 to 6 months and for like a 15 to 20 second clip.
Yep. Just working on somebody's hair,
Yeah. And then to come to find out it got cut out of the video. Right? That kind of stuff, or cut out of the movie. That's legit, right? And people don't realize just how much time it takes to get something done well, right? Or to put your heart and soul into it. And I think encouragement is very important. So if I could just talk to anybody really quickly, how it doesn't matter how good your media is at your church, encourage the person who's doing it. Just tell them thank you, because it's a lot of work, whether it's the sound guy. The worst person in church is the sound guy. I always feel bad for the sound person because it's never good enough. And I love sound. That's one of my favorite things to work on. And I love installing this stuff, but I hate actually having to be the person. Once you install it, then you have to be the expert on it, and people just annoy you, right? But the negative stuff is really tough on people, right? Because everybody's doing their best. Don't compare your church to a church that's outside of their division. Right?
Yeah,
does that make sense? Would you agree with that?
Good.
Like,
you're not elevation. You don't have a dozen cameras and a deep stage and tall ceilings and probably $1 million worth of media equipment.
Exactly.
You're a local church, and the message is more important than the quality of your media at the end of the day. It helps.
It's getting out there and it matters. It's good stuff, right? And we all have our weight classes, and I feel like at our church we're always punching up, right? We're always
trying to at least
try to punch to the next weight class, right? We don't claim to be some great guru, tech savvy church. We're just an average church, a decent sized congregation. We're not the people running off of the iPhone, but we're also not the people, that's running $100,000, $200,000 media equipment every Sunday. But we're trying our best to do the best with whatever we have, right? And so if an iPhone's the best you have, then do it the best you can. Right.
Absolutely.
If using a single setup like I'm using right now works for you, great. If you want to go to the multi-angle kind of stuff, go for it, man. You can do whatever you want to do, but try whatever you do the best you possibly can, because really at the end of the day, God gets the glory, not in how awesome it is, but the fact that you are being excellent in whatever you do, right? Because we want to give God the glory on that. All right, so we have a big segment we do at the very end, and then we turn the floor to you to introduce your all of your fun stuff you're really doing. We do this segment called, what is God saying? So what is he saying to us? So let's look. So again, we're doing What is God Saying? And just for a free thing, I have people always ask me, where do you get these really cool little quip videos at? How do you do that? Because I don't know how to make that. Pastor Ben has not built any of these for me, these little miniature ones. Now, he's built me the cool ones of my ugly mug, doing sermons or my dream builders or my rediscovered oikos. He's done all of that and done amazingly at it. And I highly recommend Campbell & Co. for that. But I use a system called Videos. Are you familiar with Videos?
I'm honestly not.
Vidyoze. Videos. It cost me $67 lifetime.
Oh, wow.
67 flat rate lifetime. And I have to download one at a time. And they're always asking me to upgrade to something else. I ignore that part of it. But I can get as many of those quick little 10, 15-second intro videos. I can customize them. Everything we do is gray because our color scheme is gray, as you've kind of figured that out. And, Ben, that as well as anyone.
And all you have to do, right, is it's a template. You just plug in your names and just
change the colors, add the information to it. We do everything gray, right? You get various versions of gray here, right? And so I was actually able to use that Videos. It's a cool program. $67. It was the best money I ever spent, and I love it. And so I can go before a video cast really quickly. I can hop on there, find something that I like, and it's really good for intros and outros and segments. That's pretty much what it does. But a 10 or 15 second little dun, 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 there you go, and I can type in the information that I want for it. It gives me my template, no different than like if you were doing a Word document, but this is for a video. You just plug in your places, and like there's these words flying everywhere, and it's actually the major points of my business that I do, all about purpose and focus and community and all this. And so those words, and then it allows me to put my logo in at the end. And so that's videos. That's pretty cool that's one of my favorite little software things. All right. So what does God say to us? What is he saying to us in the middle of COVID? We were talking about church media, but across the board, just across the thing here, what do you think God's saying to his church right now?
Yeah, I think it's really cool that we get to be a part of what's going on right now. I know it's been a really tough year for a lot of people around the world, and we've had tragedy. But any time that there's crisis, we know that God's going to move. We know that God's going to do something, and so man, I believe that as difficult as this is, I think this is a shakeout that the church really needs, because the church, just to be honest, it has gotten really good at being busy, but not so great at being effective sometimes. And I only say that because I love the church, but just being honest. And so I think this is, I think God is preparing the church to bridge that gap from busy to effective. We're losing all of these extra meetings. That was something I heard on your last podcast is, cutting away the fat, getting to, what matters most. And I think God is saying, hey, I'm preparing the church to be more effective than busy or pretty. Like, you don't have to have the nicest equipment, but I think God is preparing us to be effective over over the things that the church has prioritized in the past.
I think it's very true. What's funny is I know people who are using their MacBooks or whatever webcam and putting out thousands and thousands of views just by faithfully presenting the gospel of Jesus Christ, and people latch on to that. And it's not about how many people see it either, because you got to think about it. If it's just one or two people that really start latching on and getting a part of this, what you're doing, it makes a difference. And it's not perfect. No one's perfect. You're going to fail. And I was telling you before everything started, mic problems. Like last night I was on a video call and literally unplugged. No, it was during Bible study last night. I have my mic like really niftily, like you can't see it, it's tucked away. There's this cord, not this cord. This is my other cord. That's to my phone. But I have my cord to my whatever it's called, microphone. That's what it's called. It's called a microphone, plugged up under. And I'm sitting there just talking. Next thing I know, I just fully unplugged the thing for no reason, right? And that happens. You just deal with it. One day I did a whole video segment and I was running it off of a second screen. My dumb tail didn't realize that I was only sharing my screen, not the audio that goes with the screen. It happens, right? Just glorify God, your content, do the best you can. We're not trying to be, I think it's to a point God is allowing us to not impress people anymore. We're not trying to impress people. It doesn't matter how good your equipment is, doesn't matter how big your church is. Nobody cares about the size of your church. Whether you can be just as effective running 15 as somebody running 10,000 right now, which is really cool.
Absolutely.
Right? It's like no one cares what your church looks like. No one cares about any of that kind of stuff. So that's really great. All right. So we're wrapping up tonight. We are almost done. Now, I want to take a minute, everyone, and tell you a little bit about Ben. Ben's doing some new stuff, and he and I have really entered into a partnership. He's my media guy. I'm helping him with business coaching stuff. Ben, Have I helped you a lot on your coaching side of this thing? Have I helped you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
appreciate it. Everything that you've, all the lessons you've beat into me, and I'm kidding, but no, very, very grateful. Yeah.
I always tell them about second streams of income. I'm a big fan of that, right? I always try to find side hustles, right? Everybody needs a good side hustle. And when there comes a point where God will bless where your side hustle becomes your main hustle, right? And you get to that point where it's going. And so I've been after him for a while, and we've been working together, developing stuff, got his business going because he had a talent and a gift. And so we're turning his gift into a business. And it's for media. It's for all the logo designs. And he's designed the Rediscover Oikos. And I'll throw that on the screen just so you can see it just for a moment here. He designed this for me. And that, to me, I love this, Ben. To me, every time I see it, it makes me excited. And there's a message in here, multiple messages really to me, that deals with community and home and family and faith and all that good stuff. And so that was your design, and you were so quick on it, quick on the draw. This guy now, just so you know, Ben is not only has he designed logos for me, he's designed logos for a church, he's designed logos for other companies now, which is really cool. And his videography type stuff, he's developing videos, I know, for not-for-profit organizations. This week he's going to be working with a business up in Georgia, cutting some videos. He cuts all of our videos for our church. He cuts videos for Rediscover Oikos, and he actually is a published videographer. This is something you need to put on your CV, man. For the book that I wrote on exegetical analysis,
Right.
He was the videographer for all of that stuff, edited all of our videos, and it's now in like 4 or 5 universities. So congratulations, Ben, on being a published videographer. I don't know if that's a thing, but it sounds really good.
It sounds really good, doesn't it?
It does. And so tell me a little bit about what you got going on and how people can find you, and how you can help people who maybe are trying to start a new venture or something kind of fun like that.
Yeah, like you said, it's pretty new, and but it's called Campbell & Co. Media. That's the business, and website will be up soon. But you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram, here I have it pulled up. It's campbellco.media on Instagram, and then we're Campbell & Co. Media on Facebook, and getting some some of the work that we've done, pushing that out there so people can get a taste. But yeah, it's the church is a great place to learn. And I grew up in the church, and so I've been around this stuff for a long time. This is, my actually, when I grew growing up, my dad was the media guy for a large local church here, and so I grew up in that, and never wanted to do it as a teenager. I thought it was gross, and I hated it. Yeah. Anytime he made me run camera, I was like an angsty teenager about it. But now it's what I love to do. I love to shoot, love to edit. And love to help people tell the story of their business, and whether that's through logo or promotional videos, or so that's what we're doing. We primarily focus on churches, non-for-profits, and small businesses. Yeah, and that's kind of our thing. And so it's exciting. And like you said, yeah, you've helped walk me through it all, and so it's exciting. And
you're doing a great job. Like I said, I was thankful with you because I've had other people develop graphic design stuff for me, and I can do it a little bit, but there's a whole nother level. Start doing logos and like brochures or designs that are really high quality stuff that you want to put out there. And you were so quick on it, man. You were like there. It was and what's great about you go to these big companies, and they're overhead so much, you're going to spend too much money. So he'll help you out. He works with you, which is really cool. And then my heart doesn't want to talk about this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Tell us a little bit about this whole vegan channel thing that is happening with you and Ann. And like I said, it makes me want to throw up in my mouth when I just say those words. But no, I'm just kidding. So tell me what it's called and what you're doing.
Yeah, am I allowed to say so it's working? It's my wife, has for about a year now been doing the vegan thing, and she has crushed it. She's lost, I don't know, she's healthier than she's ever been. I'm not. I almost fell in. I didn't, but she's healthier than she's ever been. And so she just wants to share. She's got a lot of friends who ask about, are interested in the whole vegan thing, and so the YouTube channel.
What's it really called? It's something really weird. I can't remember.
It's called Vegans Don't Suck. And you'll never forget that name.
Great name.
You'll never forget it. Whether you like it or love it, it's going to stick in your head. And yeah, so she has 2 videos up right now. We're both kind of starting these ventures at the same time while having a 18-month-old feral child toddler. And so it's exciting. And during all this COVID mess. And what a good time it is during COVID for people to start that thing they've been thinking about for a long time, huh?
Yeah, so go subscribe to it so he can get his all fancy channeled up. Subscribe to Rediscover Oikos as well. I know y'all at Redo.Church, do it please. But this is a link. It's in the comment section for Vegans Don't Suck. And you know why she named it that? I think it's because I've told her vegans suck for 3 years. So what? Vegans are weirdos. But no, actually, Ann is a sweetheart. And listen, some of the video work is Ben's work. Phenomenal job, man. It looks super nice.
Thank you.
Super proud of the work you're doing, man. And I just think, I always like to brag on people, but he does a phenomenal job. And what I like about what he's doing is, again, he's here to help you. He's not trying to get rich. He would like to be rich. We all would, but he's not trying to get rich off of you, right? He's trying to help. And so check that out. That's Vegans Don't Suck. And I think they're going to be working on the future. See, sometimes you have to say it out loud so it gets stuck. You know, it's that idea of writing the vision and making it plain on stone. Yep. So you can. So there will be an ebook for vegans that's going to happen at some point because of this.
It's coming. Right? It's in the works.
Yeah, right. And so the business has started. He's launched Campbell & Co. Media, which again, super proud. Check it out. Please go like his page. I'm actually, as soon as this call is over, I'm going to actually go share it on our site and let everybody see that. And please check it out. If you're in the business of you already have a business or you're wanting to start a business, reach out to me. I can help you get the business started. I can walk you through all that steps. I helped Ben on that. Ben, I was pretty nice. I did good, right? Yeah.
You only yelled at me a few times. So
just kidding, by the way, I think. Anyway,
no, I am. I just sorry about that.
Yeah, you're all right. He just totally said I yelled at him. It's not true. Only yell at him about church stuff, not that kind of anyway. All right, so we were actually done. But no, he does a phenomenal job. Please check him out. And I think you'll be blessed if you want to get plugged in with him. Reach out to either one of us about church media questions that you may have. We're here to help you out, and especially if you're trying to do it on a budget, and we can hopefully help you not make some of the same mistakes we've made. Right? It's a good plan.
Absolutely.
So Ben, it's time to start vacation, right? Let's do this thing.
Yeah, so we're gonna figure it out somehow.
Tell Ann that I agree. Vegans do not suck. They're amazing.
I'll pass it along.
I want to try the bootable thing because it looked.
It's so good.
You made it look good, and it's hard to make it look good, right? Yeah. I don't know. Now, could that just technically be vegetarian too, though, at the same time, or is there?
Yeah, if you wanted to throw some cheese in there, or if you wanted to, vegan's a little more restrictive, but yeah, sure, you can do whatever you want.
They don't suck, but they don't eat anything that tastes good. That's the problem. No, but no, it is true. But hey, I know she has lost a ton of weight doing it, and are you working on weight loss as well, right?
I'm working on it.
Yeah, it's a process. Occasionally, you can't help get the biscuit. I don't know if it's vegan or not, but it sure is good, right?
Yeah, no, it's definitely not.
Not vegan. All right, so we're done for the night. Hey, everyone, thank you for joining us with Redo.Church's videocast. Pastor Ben, so glad to have you, man. That was a fun conversation. We went way too long tonight, but it was fun to talk about church media. We both geeked out tonight, right? So that's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me on.
We are so glad.
Appreciate your voice in my life, and not all pastors are who can be good pastors are also good bosses. But I say this to everybody: you're a great pastor, a great leader, and also a great boss. And I appreciate your voice in my life.
Yeah, see, he's saying that just because he had just a moment ago said that I yelled at him. Anyway, no, he's awesome. Hey, I'm really proud of the business. Listen, again, I don't recommend him just because I know him. I recommend him because he's done good work. And just go check out our logos, check out our videos. He's done all of our videos for us. He did it. He did a phenomenal job. All right, everyone, you have a great night. God bless you. Can you believe this? I'm going to tell you we are done for the night. Thank you for joining us at Redo.Church Videocast. We will see you next Thursday night at 8 p.m. God bless.